What's going on, Opecast? It's Braden, and today I have a very special guest. This man is a legend in the making. You may have seen him around town. If you guys have been to the Viva Los Cardenales exhibit, this man played a huge role in it, and I've gotten to know him over the last few years, someone that's very inspiring. And so without further ado, Polo, welcome to Opecast.
Hey, thank you. About time.
Yeah.
About time. But it's better late than never, and I'm not saying it's late. It's always the right time, and I'm excited to be here with you to talk about this great exhibit and basically anything and everything that you want to know. I'm an open book, and I like to talk because that's what I do for a living. So I better like to talk, right?
Yeah, this has been probably about a year in the making. I think even before I had the podcast, I was like, hey man, when I have a podcast, I got to bring you on. I saw you opening day, hey man, and then here we are 3 months in. So it all works out, especially since the Cardinals are on a high note. So that spirits are high around here.
They are very high, very, very high. And, when this team is winning, when this team is exciting for many different reasons, I feel the city gets excited.
Yep.
Last season was not a good season for the Cardinals, and it was not a good season for St. Louis. I know that there's other sports and having great seasons, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why this city wears red.
Yep.
And it's Cardinal red. So let's see what happens the rest of the season. I hope and I see good things, but baseball is fickle. Baseball is so strange that the baseball is round and comes in a square box. So think about that.
Never thought about that.
There you go.
Then, well, let's dive into you. You're not from St. Louis, but I mean, when people think of St. Louis now, they're thinking of you. So let's talk about your upbringing and what got you here in St. Louis, 2016 Spanish Broadcasting.
Well, I was born and raised in Tijuana, Mexico, just across the border from San Diego. I lived there through all my youth, and when I was about 20 years old, I crossed to the United States, where I live in California since 1995, I believe it is, 95, 96. That's where I live still. That's my residency. That's what you see in my license. But like you said, little by little, St. Louis has been adopting me. And as weird as it might sound, I'm little by little, I'm adopting St. Louis because somebody told me once, hey, St. Louis is a city that will embrace you, will love you if you love it back. It will take a little bit for them to love you, but at one point they will. And I'm starting to feel that love and feel the connection. And what we're doing here with the Cardinals or Los Cardenales with the Spanish radio, little by little is growing. Every year grows a little more. And I still see it as just the beginning of something that it's going to be great. It's going to be better than what it is right now. And I'm just I'm glad to be part of it, to be a small little pebble in the whole realm of rocks around St. Louis, around the Cardinals. And I'm just excited, man. I love baseball since I was a little kid growing up in Tijuana, Mexico with my mom, my dad, my 4 older sisters, and then eventually my younger brother. It was a thing. It was a thing for us to go to baseball games. My dad was a manager, a player in a semi-pro league in Tijuana, Mexico, like I said before. And it was just, that was it for us, baseball and family. I know my mom doesn't like it when I say it, but that was our religion. For us, we didn't go to church on Sundays, but we went to the church of baseball with my dad. Again, like I said, my mom, my sisters, and then my brother. We spent Sunday after Sunday after Sunday from 8, 9, 10 in the morning until the sun came down. My dad playing baseball, managing, coaching, me, my siblings and I playing baseball with the other kids around the fields. And that's a little bit of who I am and what makes me so passionate about the sport of baseball that we love so much, especially here in St. Louis.
That's amazing. Like, you grew up playing, did you get to a certain point where you're like, all right, I'm not going pro, so you're trying to figure out that next path?
Yeah, no, I always, you think, right, if I could do this, if I could do that, you have a dream in the backyard or whatever. But no, it was never something that I said, I'm going to be a pro one day, just because sometimes people don't like to dream or don't like to think of big things, and I never did that. One thing that I did, though, I loved radio. Like, I loved the radio aspect of things, music coming out of a little box, how, nobody knows how, but it comes out, right? and that's something that I did take attention to. I did pay attention to all that. And growing up in Tijuana, we had some great broadcasters, Mexican broadcasters, from Mexico City or the middle of Mexico, and also some in the border, and some even in the United States that we could listen to, like the San Diego Padres. Like I grew up listening to San Diego Padres games in Spanish with my dad. I mean, again, my dad, big San Diego Padres fan, and we will listen to the games every single day. So I always paid attention to that, to the point that, yeah, we did play with, little cars and, like I said, baseball and things and video games. But one of my favorite things to play was the radio. Like, I will be the DJ. I will be the host of a show, and you or my friends will call in. They were right next to me, and we will record the shows. We had a tape recorder. We will
record, play.
Yep,
right there.
Record, play. And I will be the DJ. I will be always. I was always the host of the show. And I'm talking about being 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. So, again, I didn't know that at one point I was going to do this for a living, and especially at this level. But that's something more than playing baseball. I paid attention to that other aspect, or other part of the whole sport of baseball. Obviously, life takes you different places, and at one point, I forgot about it until I didn't.
How does it feel for your family? Like, you have the San Diego Padres. I know Ozzy played there for a few years, and now he's a peer of yours now. You see him all the time. Has your family brought that up to you?
I mean, the first time I saw Ozzy was on the field here, obviously after watching him play on TV and things like that. And when I met him, I was starstruck because of who he is, right? And also because of all the memories that he will bring to me with the San Diego Padres. Like I said, my mom, my dad, my 4 sisters, myself. At that point, my brother was not born yet, and Ozzy was 79, 80, 81, those years. And I was a little kid. I was 4, 5, 6, and in San Diego, in Tijuana, they knew him as El Mago, the wizard, right? El Mago de las Paradas Cortas, and that's how I always knew him. So when I saw him here the first time, I shook his hand, and I'm like, wow, big fan of you. He's a very humble person. And he even got a little shy, and I told him, hey, El Mago. And he's like, oh, where you from? Tijuana. And I told him the story. He's like, oh, I played in San Diego. I'm like, I know you played in San Diego for a couple of years, but the story, we all know it. There's plenty of things around the museum about Ozzy Smith, because he's the greatest shortstop that ever played defense in the big leagues. And that's one of my few connections I had with the Cardinals before me being perhaps a connection for millions of people around the world.
Yep. So you were DJing with your friends, record, play, making the playlist, probably writing down the songs on the cassette. From that time until you really got that phone call to come to St. Louis, like what were you doing there in that time, and then how did you get that phone call?
Well, it was all my teenage years, my young adulthood, and my older adulthood, meaning go to school, high school, get married, move to the United States, start a family. And in between those days and 2016, obviously it's a lifetime, right? It's more than the 20 years that happened. It's a lot of good and a lot of experiences, learning experiences. Nothing bad, It's learning experiences that take you to a place where you don't even dream that you could be. The reason I'm here in St. Louis is, hard work. I know it sounds like a cliche, a hard work, dedication, and keep your nose clean and be nice to people and this and that. But that's true. Like, if you work hard, hopefully somebody notices. And they notice you, and they notice that you pay attention, that you are dedicated, that you have something that can help others with your profession, right? When you're working, when you're doing what you're doing, when I'm doing what I'm doing, not only we're bringing baseball to Cardinal Nation, we're bringing baseball to people that perhaps never been to St. Louis. They actually cheer for the St. Louis Cardinals. People in Mexico, in Puerto Rico, in Venezuela, in Cuba, in Panama. I mean, people from all over the world that see their players, their countrymen play for the St. Louis Cardinals, now they can understand what that team is doing on the field. And that's one part that sometimes we don't think about. Sometimes we think about, oh, St. Louis, St. Louis, St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis is where the Cardinals are, is where the heart of Cardinal Nation is. But at the end, the body, the mind, the head, it's all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have learned. And that's why whenever we do games, I do, it could be a really bad season, or it could be a really bad game or a really good game, and you need to do it everything with passion, with attention to detail, because you just don't know who's listening for the first time. You don't know who's listening for the first time, and you want that person to come back. You want that person to come back and be part of your family. So for me, it was about 2016, right? I had a job before. My first job in the United States was cleaning carpets. I was a carpet cleaner, window cleaner, restrooms and all that, house cleaner, right, for a company where I live in Santa Barbara that's owned by my father-in-law. And I worked with them for, I don't know, close to 10 years. And then at one point I changed professions, moving from working with him to a custodian in a big building, like a city, a county building, which is a little different than with a particular owner. But at that time, something happened that changed my life. What happened? That little kid that used to work calling to radio shows with his friends, all of a sudden was calling a real radio show, right? And I will call this radio show and talk about sports in Spanish in Santa Barbara and Ventura, that area where we live. And I was so good at my points, so eloquent, and so my delivery was pretty good, that the guys from the radio show one day said, you know what, we don't want you to call anymore. We want you to call, but call a different number, because we want you to be part of our show. We don't want you to be just, oh, let's go to line one. No, we want to go to, now let's go to the hotline where our expert Polo Ascencio is going to be at, talking about so-and-so. So that's cool. So I said, cool. And the first thing they told me is that there's no money though. And I'm like, I don't care. I already have a job. I was, working cleaning offices and stuff. So I will hide. The show was every Thursday. And I think the show's still going on. On Thursdays, they talk about sports. And I will hide in the back of an office and grab the phone and call from there. Because, at that time, you could use your cell phone, but that's when minutes will get charged. Nowadays it's free minutes, free everything, right? Well, not free because you pay it.
Is this show after 9 p.m.? Dang.
Yeah, because that's when the minutes are cheaper.
After 9, yeah.
So that's how it started, and from then on, a lot of different things had to happen to a point where I started working on TV in Santa Barbara, also by chance, because the sports guy left and they needed a sports guy in a minute. And I basically raised my hand, I showed up, and they picked me, so I worked there for a few months. And then after that, an opening came just, again, by chance. A lot of things have happened by chance, by destiny, or I don't know what you want to call it.
Right place, right opportunity.
Not that everything falls on your lap, but you work in such a way that perhaps things just, you bring things to you by thinking and by hoping, by wishing, by dreaming. And I think that's what happened with me. A lot of those things happen like that. And the fact that I'm here sitting with you inside the St. Louis Cardinals Museum is one of those. It was 2016, after a few years that I worked with the Dodgers, and then I was let go because they just cut a bunch of people from the TV company that I used to work, not the Dodgers itself, the LA Dodgers, but the company that I used to work for. And one day, it was probably about June of 2016, the San Diego Padres came to St. Louis to play against the Cardinals, and their Spanish broadcaster sent me a text basically telling me, because I had a relationship with them from working in LA, from doing a year in the Mexican League, Spanish play-by-play. He sends me a text basically telling me that he is in St. Louis, and that there's a person that told him that the Cardinals are doing a couple games at the end of the season. They were looking somebody to do their games in Spanish. So he texted me asking me if I was interested. I mean, at that time, I really didn't have a real job. I didn't have an 8 to 5. I was just basically doing whatever I could to survive, bring money to the house and all that. So I said, yeah, of course. So he gave me the number of the person, the email, and I recall emailing Kyle Garcia, shout out, also known as Taco King.
Taco King, yep.
And he's the one that I communicated with. So when I talked to Kyle, there was a couple of other people that wanted this job, and at the end, the St. Louis Cardinals picked me. You know, he brought me, him and his mom, his dad. They brought me to St. Louis to meet with the people from the St. Louis Cardinals, and the St. Louis Cardinals, and Carroll and Dan Farrell. They liked what they saw. They liked what they heard from me, and they said, yeah, you know, this guy is good for us. So yeah, we can use him for those 2 games in 2016. And it was great. It was a lot of fun.
That was your first time seeing the Arch?
That was the first time. Yes, that was the first time seeing the Arch in person. Yes. And I was very scared of the Arch. Like, I don't know why. I always thought that the Arch was going to move and come and chase me. I'm not even kidding. That's no joke. Like, every time I saw it, it gave me anxiety. And just, you know, to tell you something, and maybe this is for another time, I've never been up there. I still have not been up there. It's almost 9 years since I came here for the first time. And I have not been up in the Arch. So perhaps one day soon. And that's how I got here, you know, with that call from Eduardo Ortega, that communication with Kyle Garcia, that connection with Ann Carroll and Dan Farrell from the St. Louis Cardinals. And we did those 2 games, and I say we because, you know, I do the play-by-play. My partner in the booth is Bengie Molina, former player, former coach for the Cardinals. You know, a great ball player, a former ball player, and that's what we do now. That's what we do, and like I said, it was 2 games in 2016, and after that, it's been growing and growing and growing to the point that this season we are again doing all home games, all 81 home games on La Tremenda 880. Shout out to La Tremenda also, and get the app. If you get the app for La Tremenda, you can listen to all those games for free anywhere you go. No problems with the reception on your phone, your computer, whatever.
So your family has they have no excuse.
No, they listen. No, they listen. They listen. No, my daughter listens almost every single pitch. My wife listens once in a while. My son also listens once in a while. They all live in California. My mom, she lives in Tijuana, Mexico. Oh. She listens to every single game. I know a sister of mine listens to almost every single game. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's the St. Louis Cardinals, but I say it's the St. Louis Cardinals of the world of baseball. Yeah. Because everywhere you go, there's Cardinals fan. And everywhere you go, there's a Latino Cardinals fan. I mean, here in St. Louis, more and more every day, I see more Latinos at the stadium, more Latinos on the streets that come up and recognize me. And to me, that's still very humbling. And I still ask myself, why does a kid want my autograph on his baseball? I always say, why do you want me to ruin your baseball? It's a perfect baseball. And then they tell me, oh, because, you know, you're the broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm like,
you're inspiring.
I'm like, that makes sense. I mean, I wish I am. You know, I'm not perfect like you know, most people. But yeah, when a little kid tells you, hey, I want to be like you when I grow up, I always say, you don't want to be like me. First of all, you cannot be like me. You can be better though. You cannot be like me, but you can be better. Yeah. If you try, if you work hard, and you have a family that backs you up, like I've had, you know, all of my life. You know, from my mom, my dad, my sisters, my brother, you know, uncles, and obviously my wife and my kids, and even my dogs. They push me to keep going, and it's not easy at times, Braden. It's not easy because, again, I live in California, right? And I'm in St. Louis for mostly 6 months of the year. You miss your house, you miss your yard, you miss your dogs. Yeah, like everybody in my family knows that if they want me to go to their party, weddings or not, if it's in season, chances are I'm not gonna be there. So now I know who likes me and who doesn't. if they have a party in June, they don't want me to go, so it's okay. I won't go, and they won't get no presents. So
here goes some Cardinal tickets. Have your wedding in St. Louis.
Yeah. Here's some tickets. Fly yourself in, and then I'll get you the tickets. So, but yeah, no, it's been as you can imagine, and anybody can imagine, it's been great for me. It's been learning a lot, and little by little, we're growing. We're creating. We're bringing a fan base that for years was hidden, perhaps in the shadows. You know, it might sound a little weird and drastic, but yeah, you know, I said it one time before. It's like,
or forgotten.
Yeah, there was a time where the Latinos had no face, had no voice, had no presence. Well, guess what? Now we have a voice, we have a face, we have a presence, and we have a sound that it's like no other. Like the sound of Latinos at a baseball stadium, it's the sound of fiesta, of party, of, you know, big Viva Los Cardenales exhibit, and I love that. I love the fact that now, with what we're doing, inviting people into the stadium, it's making a difference, not only for the organization, but also for the community. Because now, like I said before, the community feels that there's something or someone or someones that represent them. And yeah, over the years, you know, we had close to 200 Latino players wearing the St. Louis Cardinals birds on the bat. But at sometimes, yeah, you see the players, but you need that communication. And now I like to think that when they turn on the radio, they hear my voice, they hear Bengie Molina's voice, they feel that communication. They feel like there's a friend in the stadium for them. And like we always say, mi casa es tu casa, my house is your house. So now I think, and I see it, we feel more welcome into the stadium. So little by little, we're coming to Busch and having fun, you know, being part of Cardinals baseball.
Now, this exhibit is something that you were working on behind the scenes for several years, whether you knew it or not.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, hey, you know, where's our section? You know, you probably only saw one jersey at that time.
Yeah.
What was the process of, you know, from day one when you identified, hey, we're not being represented, to earlier this year when this exhibit opened up?
It was the first time I came here, and if you haven't, please, I mean, take the time to do it. If possible, this season. If not, you know, this museum is here to stay. But if you want to see this exhibit, it probably will end at the end of February of next year, March. Get ready for a new exhibit. And my hopes are and wishes are that some of it stays up.
Yes.
Because, you know, it needs to be recognized that, yeah, it's Cardinals, but at the end it's also Cardenales, you know, and I mean, you see the jerseys, you see the names, and we know them, you know, we know the Fernando Tatis, we know the Carlos Martinez, the Jose Martinez, of course, Albert Pujols, Rafael Furcal, Yadier Molina, and, you know, my favorites right here, this one, Fernando Valenzuela. And a lot of people forget that my childhood idol, Fernando Valenzuela, played for the Cardinals. Again, he grew up in Mexico. He played for the Dodgers. I became a Dodger fan back in 1981 because of him. And then later, when I worked with the Dodgers, I got to meet him and I get to talk to him. And now we're not friends, as he always tells me. We're not friends, Polo, but we are friendly with each other, right? And this jersey right here has a really cool story. One day, and I will go back to, it's part of the whole thing. One day, when I came in here, I talked to Amy Barra, the director of the museum and the Hall of Fame. And not only did I ask, hey, where's the Latino corner, but I also asked, hey, Amy, what happens to all the used jerseys and things? She said, well, some we keep, some we don't know, others disappear. And she asked why. Well, you know, Fernando Valenzuela, my childhood hero, he played for the Cardinals for a couple weeks, and I was just wondering if there's a jersey of him or not. And she said something like, oh my God, that's so funny you said that, because I just saw one yesterday or a few days before online at some auction, and stuff that she's always checking to see if they can buy something or perhaps borrow from whoever buys it. And she went online and looked at it, and it was sold already. And she, oh, well, somebody got it. I'm like, dang it, I was not happy. But then she told me who had it. And she called the guy, I forgot his name, sorry. And I got to talk to him. And I said, hey, you know, if you ever bring it, I would love to see it. And if you ever want to get rid of it, let me know, because I would love to buy it. Well, the conversation ended there, but continued 2 years later, when he sends me an email telling me, hey, Polo, I'm selling most of my stuff. The Valenzuela jersey I'm gonna sell, and I want you to have it if you want to buy it. So I was like, hell yeah, why not? So I bought it. Very nice deal that he gave me. And that's the jersey that Fernando used on his very first time pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I remember sending Fernando a picture of the jersey, and he recognized the jersey. He basically told me everything he did that day, and I asked him for a favor if he could sign it, and he did. So this jersey, this is not gonna stay here. I'm gonna take it home eventually.
Yeah, that one's going home.
That one's going home. So that's part of the story. Part of me asking Amy, hey, where's the Latino wing of the museum? And she's like, you know what, we don't have one, but we should do that. There's, Beltran, Pujols, Cepeda, there's different things of different Latino players that played for the Cardinals, but there was not something like this right now. And I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy that this happened. She put a lot of work. And when I said Amy, I mean her and her whole team and a lot of other people that put all these things up, and I love it. I mean, we got a chance to see it the day before it opened to the public. My wife and my kids were here with me, and it was very, very emotional to see all of this stuff of all the Cardinals that came before me, because now I am a Cardinal and I am part of the Cardinals history. And then if you walk that way, there's a little corner that they surprised me with a lot of Polo-isms, that stuff that just come up to my head and I say them during the broadcast. And that corner, that's pretty cool. When I saw that, I just, the waterworks came out, and it just, the hard work and the time, the patience, the good nights, the bad nights, it's paying off, and I wouldn't change not one thing.
Foodie Friday, Polo, 3 or 4 of your favorite spots in town?
3 or 4 of my favorite spots in town. Contrary to what people might think, I'm very simple, right? I've been accused of being a diva. I've been accused of having a big ego. Maybe I do. But I am very simple when it comes down to food. I like my food hot, spicy, savory, good.
Okay.
So there's a few spots that I usually go back around St. Louis. And I know, perhaps the question is coming, your favorite barbecue spot. Everybody has one in St. Louis. I have mine in St. Louis. It's a little spot over close to the hill, Adams Smokehouse. Adams is a small little spot, but it's really, really good. It's family owned, and they work it every day. Mike and his wife and kids, they're always there. So that's if I want barbecue, I'm loyal to Adams.
Okay.
If I want a sandwich, because I know you're big on sandwiches in St. Louis, people don't understand how big of a sandwich town St. Louis is. Cali, City Blues.
Blue City
Deli. Blue City Deli. That little spot in the corner, live music and all that. That's a good spot for me to go. I've been to Georgia, I've been to others, but at the end of the day, I always go back to City, and I just like it. I like all of them, but there's something about that spot
pulls you.
Yeah, perhaps it was the first good big sandwich that I had here in St. Louis. Then after that, I've been to others, so that's the other one. Now, if I'm Mexican, and I know you're gonna ask me, what's your favorite taco in town? There's a lot of really good ones. But you cannot go wrong with Locos Tacos.
Okay.
Locos Tacos in Maplewood. If you haven't, you should. Oh man, I mean Tyler Garcia, his lovely wife. Not only again, and you see the maybe the theme here, like family, right? Like Blue City, Adams, Locos Tacos. They're all family owned and operated, and I really like their tacos. But sneaky good tortas. La torta and Locos Tacos. Torta. Go ask.
Okay. That's the
La
other
torta. That's there. They sell tortas.
I've had
it's like
torta especial at La Vallecana.
Look at me. Well, okay, La Vallecana is really good too.
Yeah.
But Locos Tacos for me right now.
Pulls you.
It pulls me, and I mean, there's a few other places. Now, if I want to go sit down at a Mexican restaurant, I have to go across the river. Hopefully, that counts as St. Louis.
Yeah.
I go to Mi Ranchito. Tienda Mi Ranchito is right across the river, and it's really good. It's really, really good. It's a good spot. Also, family owned. And those are the spots that I really, really like and enjoy to go. There's a few around downtown where I live that I also like to go to. Havana, Washington is really good
Cuban.
if you want the Cuban flavor. But yeah, Locos Tacos, Blue City, Adams, Mi Ranchito. Those are the spots that you could see me eating there quite often. And if I want sushi, I go to a spot here downtown. I think it's called Ahi Sushi. They have a all-you-can-eat situation for about $20. Trust me, I make those $20 worth. So.
And you're from, or like you live in San Diego right now, right?
North of San Diego, Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
So that's a big compliment.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's really good. And yeah, I like I said, it's simple. You know, no steaks, no lobster, no things. It just go good food, and good food, good people, good talk, good drinks, and you go home happy.
You just mentioned a lot of great spots. Let's talk about dinner guests. 3 people, dead or alive. It could be, family, friends, could be mentors, celebrities, whoever. If you could have 3 people join you
At the same time?
Yep, at the same time.
Oof. At the same time, I don't know how this will work out, but somebody that I always heard about. I met my grandma on both sides, my grandmas, but I never had a chance to talk to my grandparents, like my mom's dad, my dad's dad, and the way my mom's dad went when he passed away, I would love to sit down with him and just talk about everything. He was taken. He was killed in Mexico. He was, pretty young. He was not even 50. And the stories I hear about him and how he went about his business and how he, managed to provide for a family of almost 10. I would love to sit with him, but more like in a table sitting, just one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like one-on-one to pick his brain and to hear what made him so special to the point that somebody had to go kill him.
Yeah.
It's like that's, I know it sounds a little dark, but I would love to have 5-10 minutes with him just to know him and to say that I met my grandpa.
Yeah.
That's one person that I would love to. The other one, and that's why I don't know if maybe it will work out at the same table, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
The mind that guy has, all his movies, that some of them I wouldn't watch if it wasn't for my son, who is a fan, and he has, COVID, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That movie helped us through COVID because we will watch it not every day, but it will be on TV quite often. And I'm not gonna say I know every single line, but I know a lot of the lines.
Yeah.
And it's I love that movie, and I love Django Unchained and Unchained. The other one, Pulp Fiction. I mean, all his movies are very eclectic, very dark, but at the same time, they have good feeling to it. Until you remember that if you have never seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's a really nice movie until the end.
I gotta see it.
When you remember what really happened, and the movie shows what maybe a lot of people wish had happened at the end with the people that happened, but it didn't. So it leaves you like a little empty feeling. So those two are there. When it comes down to sports, I would love to sit down and perhaps even party a little bit with Diego Armando Maradona. To me, that's my favorite soccer player of all time. I mean, Messi, Ronaldo couldn't hold a soccer ball to Diego. I don't want to start that debate, but I will die on that. On that hill. And those are 3 people completely different. That if they were all at one table, that would have been interesting. But if not, at least one-on-one, I would have loved to again, in that order. First, my grandpa from my mom's side, then Quentin Tarantino, and at the end, Diego Maradona, who passed away a couple of years ago. But yeah, man, I mean, those could be some very interesting conversations. I mean, others that I wish I've had already. Fernando Valenzuela, again, growing up. idolizing him. I had a chance to talk to him more than one time. When it comes down to broadcasters, the people that I look up to, talking in Spanish, Jaime Jarrin, broadcaster for the LA Dodgers, over 65 years of broadcasting in the Hall of Fame. I've had a chance to talk to him. So I've been pretty fortunate and blessed to have had a chance to meet my heroes. And most of them have not disappointed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, words of wisdom, let's say there's someone that could be going through a tough time, or someone listening that aspires to be better than you, right? Not to be like you, but be better, is what you were saying. If you had any words of wisdom you would like to leave people with?
There's something that my wife told me once, and I live by it, and now it's like part of what I say. Is like, if you don't ask, the answer is always no, right? If you don't ask me, hey, Polo, can we sit down? The answer is going to be no, right? If we don't ask these people to let us do it here in the museum, the answer is going to be no. If you don't ask, hey, are you available? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can I do that? Can I have this? Can I have that? The answer is always no. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid of rejection. And using a very baseball term or math, don't forget that to be in the Hall of Fame of baseball over a long career, all you have to do is 3 hits every 10 at-bats. So 7 times you can get out, strike out, whatever. As long as you have 3 hits, if you have 1,000 at-bats and you have 300 hits over a long career, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. So think about that. You can miss 7 times out of 10 and still be in the Hall of Fame. So if you're having and trust me, I've had some really hard times, really hard days that I don't want to wake up, that my body wants to, but my brain doesn't. Yeah. At the end, who owns you? Yourself. Not your brain, not your body, but your heart. If your heart is beating, you can do it.
How can people follow you on your journey and also listen to you on the radio?
Well, if you like dogs, cooking, and baseball, Instagram is the way to go. Polo's View is my Instagram. I still don't know why I have like almost 6,000 or 7,000 followers, but shout out to all of you, for reals. I appreciate you. And of course, the games. The games are very important because we need to grow. And there's a lot of ways to listen to us. Like I said, La Tremenda 880, the app for La Tremenda. You can listen to us there. You can also listen on MLB TV, of course, on the radio with La Tremenda 880 directly AM. And there's also 7 stations. The St. Louis Cardinals have, if not the largest Spanish network in baseball.
Wow.
By themselves, at least tied with somebody else, but I believe we are the number 1 for now, and hopefully we keep growing. So if you go to Indiana, you can listen to us in Indiana. If you go to the Ozarks, you can listen to us while you're having fun at the lake. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, we're growing, and also Valley Sports. Chip and Brad and Jimmy or whoever is with Chip Carey. You can also flip it to Spanish on the SAP and give us a chance. And I know a lot of people are doing that to at least listen to what we're doing, and that's important, right? Opening your mind through baseball, it's a good way to start opening your mind to life. Yeah. Because I know St. Louis, sometimes it's a tough town, a tough city to grow and to accept outsiders. But luckily, they have accepted me, and I'm very, very happy. Accepted me and my family, of course.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, Polo, I appreciate your time, brother.
Hey, anytime.